Everybody's talking about Lizzo's booty hanging out at the Lakers game, and so are we on Black Hollywood Live's The Trend.
You're tuned into Black Hollywood Live, the world's first digital broadcast network devoted entirely to urban entertainment and pop culture. Tune in right now.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to Black Hollywood Live's The Trend. I'm your host, Derrial Christon, and we have a full team today.
Yes, we do.
Everybody's looking good. Coordinated. They got the colors, like the Christmas colors, holiday colors going on.
Yes, we're winning.
Well, joining me in purple is Courtney Stewart.
What's up, y'all? I'm here again.
We got special guest host today, Mchugh.
Hello. How's everybody doing?
You got your purple on too.
I did. I think I got the memo.
You got the memo.
I got the memo.
You know,
do the purple.
You fit right in.
Fitting right in.
Synergistic. Yeah, synergistic.
And our very special guest today, you know her from BET's The Oval, which is winning right now.
Yes.
Kron Moore is in the house.
Thank you for having me.
All the way from Atlanta.
All the way from Atlanta.
Atlanta.
Yes.
Hot Atlanta.
Yeah. Hometown.
Well, that show is just blown up. And we've had a lot of guests, we were saying, from Atlanta come in and who've actually worked with Tyler and went to the studios when he first opened them, you know, what, a month ago or so, I guess, at this point? It seems like it's so long ago. Yeah. So we're happy to have you in here today.
I'm so excited to be here. I am so excited to be here.
And we're going to talk about all those juicy details about the show and a lot more about your career. But first, we're going to talk about a couple topics, and then Courtney's going to start us off.
Yeah, we got some topics to talk about today because people wilding out in these streets like they always are. And apparently, it's starting this week in St. Louis, y'all. So there's an elementary school called Blades Elementary in St. Louis, fifth grade social studies class. You know, they're, the kids going to school thinking, we're about to learn some social studies. Well, a teacher had a brilliant idea to basically give them an assignment that was supposed to teach them about economics and Western expansion and whatnot. But part of the assignment was that they had to give a price to slaves. And some parents were a little upset when they found out what was going on. One of the parents is a Facebook user. His name was Lee Hart. He posted a picture of the actual assignment that showed, name how much you would charge for your slave and how much would you pay for a slave. And he was obviously very upset. He said, quote, "This was supposedly a westward expansion lesson. Some were given food, water, wood, and slaves!" Exclamation, 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 exclamation. Wrong on so many levels. And so, of course, everybody got in an uproar. They're like, what are you doing? You're teaching these kids. They're pricing slaves. What's really happening? Principal Jeremy Booker chimed in, and he said that the teacher was just trying to teach the kids about market practices, and the class was learning about having goods and needing goods and obtaining goods and how that influenced early settlement in America. Some of the students obviously were prompted to consider how much they would have to trade for slaves and what those prices should look like, and that's where the assignment came from. The teacher has apologized, and she said she felt very bad about her insensitivity. And the principal said that all the teachers and staff will undergo professional development on cultural bias. If your kid came home with an assignment to praise the price on a slave, would you be upset?
Keven, I'm going to let you start with this one.
I mean, that first of all is absolutely asinine and culturally insensitive. And I don't know how a teacher in today's school system would think for a moment that it would be appropriate. I would be so angry. I mean, I can't even imagine.
Listen, you play the first lady on the Oval. You got two kids. If your kids came home with the slavery trading up in class, how would it go down?
Victoria is coming out.
I hear that.
Okay.
She gave me the okay.
In her robe, and her hair clips, and her slippers. She's going to the school, and she's about to get down with everybody.
I mean, it's 2019. We already know that slavery existed. It's very much in our history books. We clearly know about this. The fact that you have a assignment where they trade the slaves in 2019, that the teacher thought it was okay. That's my biggest problem. How do you even think that it's okay to send a child home and tell their parents what their assignment is when it's that? Right. I don't even get it.
Especially in today's climate. It's just... it was inappropriate to begin with, but then in today's climate, come on.
I mean, I guess you could say, her heart was in the right place as far as trying to show them how to do the market stuff.
Okay, Sean, you got to leave, man.
No,
I'm just playing. I'm playing.
As far as the other stuff, like the grain, right? Like the wood and really, we're gonna come on, guys. You can't then do people. Like this is 2019. Like if it's 1950, you still can't do it.
Yeah,
I don't care what year it is. Like, I mean,
Right.
like, it's, I don't know how you missed that. I don't know how that happens.
We
Yeah.
have to do better.
And I don't know if you saw the picture of the tweet.
Yeah.
I mean, and then 2 for $5?
Well, the
wow.
kids was trying to figure it out.
I mean, that's
Wow.
cheap. I mean,
It even said this might be a good one to like. It was like 2 for $5.
2 for
Like,
$5.
wow,
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. This is not Burger King.
No.
Yeah.
Well, I'm
No.
going to surprise all of y'all at the table and say I'm actually not offended. at
Wait, what?
all.
Seriously?
Wow.
And I bet nobody that ever listens to us would think that.
I would
But
absolutely.
I'm actually
surprised.
not, and here's why. What you just said, we know in the history books, and we know this and this and that and the other. Actually, the problem with education, especially right now, is because we just did a story on this not too long ago, how history books were printing that slaves came to this country as indentured servants, and they weren't actually slaves.
Right.
And so the misinformation regarding the darkness of slavery is definitely full, it's definitely rampant, and I definitely think it affects how we view black people as in position in this country right now, because we have this diluted idea of what slavery actually was. I see value in showing and having kids actually contemplate the idea that people were traded for goods like livestock. So whether or not her actual assignment was fully developed enough to give that message, I can't gauge based on what that picture was, because
Sure,
it was just a clamp of that. I don't know what discussion was actually happening in the class, but I do think that there is power in that part of education in terms of slavery, because I think we have watered it down tremendously. In fact, I don't ever know that we actually ever really taught the darkness that is slavery and why that matters in our economy even to this day. And I think that if you're trying to give an honest view of that these types of exercises are not unfounded, and they should make you uncomfortable, and they should be having kids ask questions like, oh my God, you could trade a person for $2 to get a cow? Yes, you could. They did it, and they fought for it. And those people's ancestors still think floating the Confederate flag that wanted to support that is a reason for us to not be upset. Like, we shouldn't be upset about saying something like that. Like, the pain behind that still exists, and I think that's why it's actually an important lesson to be learned.
Yeah, I can get behind that. I can get
Okay,
behind
yeah.
that as long as, like you said, the lesson was rounded
Layered,
out.
yeah.
I mean, it can't just be, okay.
It can't just be like, how much for the kids?
That's
Yeah.
just the whole story has to be told. Like you said, our history books don't fully explore what really happened.
Right, yeah.
And if she was exploring the wholeness of
The
it,
wholeness of it, which
that's
we
one
don't know.
thing. But like you said, we don't know.
We don't.
It feels a little complex for fifth grade, though, right? Like what you're saying.
I thought about that too, but
I was like,
fifth graders nowadays you're 10 and 11 years old, 10 to 12 years old in fifth grade.
Okay.
I don't think so.
They're
I
pretty
think the
advanced.
value of a person,
Right.
like, I don't think that's something that
Okay.
they.
Okay.
Because I saw Roots when I was like,
Yeah.
I don't know, like 7,
Right.
6 or
Sure,
7.
sure. Yeah.
And it was harsh, but like I could process what
That's
is not
true.
okay about,
Yeah.
especially with an adult guidance, like through.
Right. I
it.
wonder if Roots is still being shown in classrooms.
I don't think so, girl.
No, I don't think it is either, actually.
Oh, you said
not,
Roots.
not even the new Roots, the revamp of Roots, the new one.
Like I said, most of them history books talk about we was indentured servants. And
I mean, I
we
can
was
get with
free,
your
so-
opinion, but I still have a problem with the trading and the putting a money amount to it. I still have a big problem with that.
That's what had happened, though. Speaking of what had happened, Killer Mike got on the Twitterverse this week, and he got dragged because he made some comments that weren't so pleasing to especially black women on black Twitter. So basically what had happened was this writer by the name of Terrain Walker, he tweeted the following quote: "The greatest trick white feminism ever played was convincing black women that black men were the enemy." And Killer Mike saw this message and was like, "Oh, homie, I feel that." And he didn't actually say that, but he retweeted, you know how you can comment on the tweet. And he said, quote, "Crafted by this CIA agent." And he posted a pic of Gloria Steinem, who is like mother of feminism, modern feminism, I guess you could say. And so everybody got really upset. Like, obviously he's co-signing on this, black women hating on black men, and if you're a feminist, you must hate black men, and that's such a problem, blah, 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 blah. But a lot of women and some men were super offended because they were like, yo, like, that's not feminism, and that doesn't define us. And certainly white women are not telling black women how to be feminists this day and age. So we had a couple of responses. One from Rosacea Queen. She said, quote, "Both of y'all need to pick up a textbook book on Black feminism and womanism's roots quickly. Another woman by the name of @colonizedlocal said, I would love to be surprised, even outraged, that Killer Mike would post something that supports the previous foolish, unresearched opinion about Black feminism. But it's literally Killer Mike, y'all's favorite political rapper. So they went on and on and on and kind of dragged him through the mud, but he didn't seem to have a reaction back to kind of roll it back at all. He seems to stand by his words that Black women got bamboozled by the white feminisms and have dismiss Black men because of it. How y'all feel?
I mean, it's a strong opinion in this time for him to be making that statement. When I first read it, I was like, he had to know he was going to get dragged all over social media for that statement. I don't agree with him. I think his opinion is a strong opinion, and he always does make very much strong opinions about certain things in this arena. I think that he didn't. I don't think he had all the facts with some of the statements that he was making. Personally,
he didn't have all the facts.
No,
that's a very nice way to say that.
Come on, girl. That's a tough one. I mean, and I don't know that. I'm sorry. I don't know that it's a Black man's place to comment.
I'm with you.
You know, I mean, as much as I like Killer Mike, but I don't think he should have touched that.
Should have touched that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, kind of piggybacking on that. It's a shame. I feel like it just undercuts everything. Like the Black feminist thing, it totally undercuts it. It makes it like, oh, you got this idea from the white woman. Like that's hard. You know what I mean? Like it's like this kind of almost black on black crime of like you're undercutting these women. Like why are you doing that?
Why, brother?
Like,
why?
Yeah.
Right.
Why, brother?
Especially,
why?
I mean, when so many Black women actually support his music in certain ways.
And support his activism and are front lines with his activism.
Right.
And to say something like that is it's beyond absurd and it's insulting on so many levels. But is there any truth, as men at the table, do you feel that feminism attacks men too much?
Ooh, that's a tough one right now because we are just in a very sensitive state.
Well, you can only speak for yourself. Do you feel attacked by feminism?
I don't personally feel attacked by feminism, but I can understand how certain men can feel attacked by feminism.
And how does that?
There are certain things I think that are said that are untrue in the fact of how women are treated in regards to men. And I think that right now it's a heightened sensitivity with everything we have going on with Me Too. And I think a lot of men are afraid to really say and react to certain things that they normally would have maybe spoken up about before. And I think that, is there a lot of things that are going on that have been messed up and feminism is something that is very important that is going on, but I still feel like there is a little bit of an attack on certain men right now with the sensitivity that's going on with Me Too. And I think that, a man right now is a little bit more weary about certain things to be vocalized about.
So you do feel like there's some attack on men?
It's a slight attack. Not on me, but on certain men.
On men in general or
men in
Black
general?
men or just men in
I
general?
say men in general, not just Black men.
Okay.
I'm not just putting it towards Black men.
Yeah.
Well, I think the way these things work is that we have to go extreme to get to the middle, right? So with this the Me Too thing, like it's going to get really bad on men for a hot minute, and well deserved,
as it should. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So after everything kind of gets back to the middle. Like that's just how things work. Like you have to give things time, and so I can understand a little bit about it, but like I feel like for me as a confident man, like I know who I am. So I'm not threatened by feminism. I'm married to a very strong, intelligent woman, and like I wouldn't have it any other way. Like you know what I mean? Like I want someone that's equal to me, and actually she's smarter than I am. I would say she's a smart woman.
You're getting all kind of good points. I hope she's listening right now. You're winning right now, Sean.
She's watching. She's like, you better. Yes, you better.
Oh, I just got a text. Good job. Okay.
He got cool hair and he knows how to say what he needs to say.
So, I mean, I think it's an individual thing, but I think if you're threatened by feminism, you need to probably take a look in the mirror.
There you go.
I agree.
That whole part.
Well, praise the Lord, I co-sign on that.
Yes, you can't be scared. I mean, listen, I was raised by very strong women. My mom, my aunts, my sister. So you're right. Absolutely, for sure.
All right. Well, there you go. Killer Mike, good luck.
Good luck. Would you
Maybe
not
you
listen
should
to
be
his
the
music
brave.
now, though? Would that change your opinion about his music?
No, I mean, I'm still a supporter, and people are entitled to their opinions.
That's
And I'm
right.
not going
Yeah,
to
that's a good
agree
point.
with everything, everyone,
Yes.
people I
Exactly.
support. I'm not going to agree 100% with you, or anyone
Sure.
else.
Yeah.
So he's entitled to his opinion, but I mean, I think that if it was a perpetual thing and he harped on it, and if it became a movement for him, like a lot of things do,
Right.
then I think it might affect my view of him.
I
I
hear
would
that.
just encourage him to read a little more about feminism, especially Black feminist movements. Just a little bit more.
There you go.
And you drop that mic. All right. We're going to move on to our EUR Web Story Spotlight of the Week.
EUR Web Story Spotlight of the Week.
Well, as Karen said, people are entitled to their opinions. Some people are entitled to the way they dress at Lakers games. Speaking of that, we're going to talk about Lizzo. All right, Lizzo.
girl.
So she's catching a little bit of heat because during the Lakers-Timberwolves game the other night, she was in a dress that she got up to twerk because the Lakers girls were dancing to her hit song Juice. And it was juicy. It was juicy. That's what popped in my head. I can't help it. It was juicy.
Real juicy,
Hey,
girl.
a little juicy. And when she popped up, a lot of things popped out. So people are talking about her all over social media because when she stood up, her dress had around the booty area was a circular area and had a little thong, and the cheeks were out, and she got her twerk on and exposed a lot of her body to people. And there's been a lot of mixed opinions, but also a lot of negative mixed opinions about this because it's going back and forth about some people are supporting her, but a lot of people aren't. They're saying it was too much for the crowd at the Lakers game. Why did she do it? Why did she wear that dress? And, she's gone on to say, she actually had an interview with People, and she said that it wasn't flesh to seat. So, so there.
I mean, what did she have? A prayer cloth? What was you saying on it?
I mean,
Did she have
I
the
don't think
bronze
that
jersey
thong
over
covered
there?
up too much of that plastic on that seat, or leather, or whatever it was on the seat. What was your opinion about Lizzo's outfit?
Well,
Would you like a sip of water?
I need to sip some tea. I am a big fan of Lizzo,
Yes.
and I support her body positivity movement. I think it's an incredible thing that she's doing, and that's why she has so many supporters. I also think there's a time and place for everything, and we in Western culture are not supportive of the message all the time that
Right.
it's just it's a cultural thing. Number one, number two, there were children there. I'm sure that a lot of parents were offended by it. And like I said, there's a time and place for everything. I love Lizzo, and I wonder if 10 years from now she'll look back and say,
Ooh, why'd I do that?
yeah.
It seemed pretty on brand for me, like for her.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, so
I'm not surprised.
And I think also, like, we made a big, it's kids at the Lakers game. Oh, she was at the beach. Would we even be having this conversation? I mean, I get it. We're, we're not at the beach, but if you were, then there's no conversation.
Right.
Because there's kids at the beach too, right?
That's a good point.
But that's the point, though. That's the entire point. Sorry.
No, go ahead. No, I'm
Like,
good. You want to jump in there?
I love Lizzo, and I fully support all that she has done. When she was on the MTV Awards and ripped that dress off and was in her leotard doing her Beyonce, like, I'm here for it. Like, I support you. But we have decided culturally that there are some places where some things are acceptable. Like, I will put my 7-year-old daughter in a face full of makeup to do a dance recital, but I don't necessarily want her going to school in a face full of makeup.
Right.
Like, there are things that we've decided. If I told Derrial earlier, if we was like, yo, let's go to the Laker game tonight, and you pick me up and I have my butt cheeks out, would you, as my friend, be like, okay, girl, that's cool? No, you would be like, girl, why your butt out? So I just feel like it's like really basic, like, yeah, it's great, but like, you're not on a red carpet. You're not at and everybody's like, look at Rihanna. She had her butt out at the Met Gala, and that was Lizzo's inspiration. I agree, her butt was out.
But that's still the Met Gala. That's the Met Gala.
Yeah.
They're
It's the
supposed
Met
to.
Gala.
There's a forum
Yeah.
for that.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
had she
sure.
done this at the Met Gala, I would have been like, yep. And granted, there are definitely people that are shading her because she's a larger woman,
Sure.
but there is an attack on people saying, oh, we're all fat phobic for thinking she should have to listen to us say anything. I'm like, no, we have acceptable practices. Just like if I go to McDonald's, I don't want the guy serving me my French fries to have his junk out.
Right. It
Like,
doesn't
we
matter.
decided that those
doesn't
are
matter.
things it doesn't matter if it was tiny or large. I mean, I'd be like,
You don't want no
whoa.
extra buns?
No, thank you. So for me, it was just like really basic. Like, this is real basic. This isn't complicated. This isn't an attack on her size. It's just real basic stuff that we've decided as a culture. But if we move to this area, where, we're going to be going to the grocery store. I mean, that's why the Walmart memes exist. When people have their butts out at Walmart.
Right. I feel
We're
you.
like,
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter if it's
But
a
that's
small
not on
butt, a
purpose,
large
though.
butt.
That's not.
not on
Listen, I don't. Where
I mean,
live.
if you feel your cheeks getting wind, you doing it on purpose.
I mean, yeah. I mean, this is the thing. It's once again, I piggyback on what you guys are saying. It's the Lakers game. If I brought my little nephew there or niece there, and Lizzo sitting in front of me, I don't really the twerking in the booty. I don't really want my 7-year-old or 5-year-old, niece or nephew to see that. Even though, yes, you can go to the beach, but that's where you're supposed to see maybe a thong or a booty cheek out. And I just feel like right now she is on top of her game. She just got Time Warner's Entertainer of the Year.
Yeah,
Congratulations to her.
Yeah.
Time Magazine Entertainer of the Year, and she's just doing it, and everyone's loving it. Grammy nominated,
Yeah.
and
She's doing everything.
And I love what she's representing, her self-confidence in herself, and a different form of body that we've seen on this type of limelight, and I love that. But pick where you're gonna wear your outfits.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, at the end of the day, you don't need to do that right now. You're in such high demand. You don't even need to have your booty cheeks out at the Lakers game. Let the Lakers girls do that.
Well, I was going to say, I mean,
Well,
there
that's
are
the-
Laker
that's the
girls.
argument.
But
I'm
they are.
just saying,
But they're. But okay,
Laker
still. But I
girls.
still
So
go back to
what's
Lakers.
the line? What's the line?
Okay, so the Lakers girls are hired to be dancers that are they're going to be in outfits that are probably going to let them be able to be freer with their dance versus just sitting in the crowd at in front of kids right in front of them. It's a fine line.
Okay.
Yes,
Well,
it's
that's
a
why
fine
I
line.
actually think the kid
Yes.
thing isn't a fair argument, because if we're talking about sexualization, like, the Laker dancers are way more over sexualized. In fact, if anything, when looking at Lizzo, most of us were like, whoa, we weren't.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so sexual.
Yeah, right.
Like, we were just more like, whoa, that's
Like,
too
what you
much.
doing?
Like, wow. But the Laker girls are selling sex. Like, they physically
I'm
are
gonna give you
selling
that,
sex.
yeah.
That's the point. They're in
Right.
bras, they're in hot pants, like, whatever. So, I mean, that to me, that's why the whole kids are there argument doesn't really fly. But I do think we as a society have decided about certain things fashion-wise that are doable with, obviously we have limits and things that we adjust to. But in general, ass out at the game is just not really one
Right.
of those things that we do.
What was the thing she said about cheeks to?
Oh, she said this. It wasn't flesh to seat.
Flesh to see.
Flesh to seat.
I think
Meaning-
Did
someone
it have a
mentioned
flap?
that. Like,
Yeah,
I mean,
she was
but
doing a magazine interview with People.com, and she mentioned that. So I think someone was asking, was her booty cheeks just right out on the seat?
I was
You know what I
stressed
mean?
out
Like,
about that. I was like, girl, you sat on a
Oh,
stadium
right.
Yeah.
That's what I was
chair.
concerned.
Unhygienic.
Yeah.
yeah.
Maybe
How
about a
many?
flap.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
I
don't-
hope there was something between her and. I mean, she said there was. I'm sure there was, but
yeah,
that's where my mind was.
Yeah, the thong. That's what it was. I mean, like I told Courtney, when I go to the gym and you're in the locker room and a guy comes and sits down on the bench, trust and believe, I'm not sitting on that bench
Yeah,
when your
no.
butt cheeks been chilling there for a second. I don't want your sweat or anything else that
No.
you may be having with you. So yeah, Lizzo,
Put the towel down.
Put the towel down.
Put the towel down.
And also my thing is, listen, at the end of the day, let's just be 100. She did it for attention. She did it so people can talk about her. I mean, that's what it is. You
Yeah,
know what I mean?
shock value is her
Shock
jam.
value.
Yeah.
It keeps her name out there. I mean, I get it, but it's still, maybe not the Lakers game. Do it at the Grammys. Fine, whatever. But don't do it at the Lakers game.
Okay.
All right. All right. But you know what? Keep winning though, Lizzo.
I know.
Keep winning.
Keep singing.
Keep winning.
You're
doing your thing. All right. Somebody else who's doing her thing consistently is Michelle Obama. She was speaking with the Today Show about Trump's impeachment, which we all have been hearing. And, it's like
Everybody's tired.
Yeah, I'm tired. But then I'm tired of it, but yet I still listen to NPR every day just to hear what's going on.
Sure.
You've got that political.
Yeah, it's on my
Yeah, it's like
Yeah, you understand.
I'm waiting to hear something that surprises me, but nothing has surprised me
I'm
quite
ready
yet.
for them to stop yelling at me like it's my fault.
That too.
Because they feel like all they're doing is yelling at each other.
Yeah.
Well, she made a statement about the impeachment hearing. She said that it seems very surreal. She says she doesn't think that people know what to make of it yet. yet. And I would agree with her on that. What do you guys think?
Well, our generation has not seen anything like this. So yeah, I would agree. Yeah, we really don't know what to make of. I mean, you have a strong point of view either way, but this is something new for us. And then what happens if, we follow through with this? It's unprecedented.
Yeah.
There is such a dignity with Michelle Obama. Like, she speaks and you're just like, yes, you just make sense. Like,
she can say cheeseburger. We'll be like, yes, I want a cheeseburger.
Right, that whole part, and I'm a vegetarian.
Right.
Yes.
Totally. Like, I was watching the interview, the clip, and I was like, man, we need more people like her in politics, like that just have a dignity. Like, there used to be rules to this stuff, and like, there's just no rules anymore. And I don't know. Unfortunately, I think, like I was saying earlier, that pendulum's going to swing before we get back to the middle. And
you don't think we're already at the far end yet?
Unfortunately, I don't. I think it's going to get worse before it gets better.
I do too.
I agree.
Yeah, I agree.
So
I agree.
It's scary.
It's scary, and
Well, Michelle was actually pretty optimistic in that
she
was
was
like, we'll get back, and I was like, wow, you're optimistic, because I'm not. Like, I agree. Like,
But it
I'm
has
watching.
to be. I mean, like,
Does it though?
I mean,
could it all just self-destruct?
It's possible.
The
It's not
fall of the
impossible.
Roman
We're
Empire,
close.
like it's
Well,
over.
It's not impossible, but we have to be optimistic. We have to be optimistic for future generations, our kids, and
true.
no, that's what she said too. Yeah,
That's exactly
we
what she
can't
said.
give up.
right.
And she
Can't
did
give
say
up.
we have survived a lot, through
Yeah.
the years, and she thinks it'll come back to where it needs to, but that comeback seems real far right
It
now.
seems so
I'm
far.
I'm looking for that comeback.
You're like,
No
That
horizon.
comeback. I don't see it.
Where's
I don't
Uncle
see it.
Al?
Right, exactly. I'm not seeing it right now, Michelle.
No, because they literally are looking at the same thing, watching these hearings. It'll be one person next to each other, and they will have heard the exact same thing or seen the exact same thing and be yelling about entirely different. It's like, did we
Right.
all hear the same thing?
Yeah.
I don't know. So I don't know how you reconcile that.
I don't either.
ever,
Well,
but
my wife would
God.
say it's because people aren't using their words. Words have meaning.
Yeah.
Like and we argue in emojis. Like, it doesn't
Yeah.
work. Like, you have to
But these are old people. They're like been using words for years,
No,
and now
that's
they're
true.
literally telling you the words that are being said are not being said. They don't mean what they
Right.
are.
Alternate
And
universe.
it's like,
Right.
I don't know what we're supposed to do.
It's a twist on a twist on a twist.
It's like
right?
Jedi
Yeah.
mind trick backwards upside down.
Yeah.
I don't know what is going on. It's stressing me
Yeah,
out.
well, now, with everything going on with the
It's all right.
Democrats.
It's all right. We're gonna be okay.
I got
know,
through the
we
week.
know.
I got through the week.
Just picture Michelle Obama whenever you get
That's
stressed.
right. That's
Yeah.
a good.
If we
I like
can just
that.
convince her to go into
And
office.
she would just run.
But listen, I get her reasons.
I
though.
know.
I get
I
her
100%
reasons. I
don't
get her
think she
reasons.
should. I was like, why should she ruin her life? She is living a fantastic life.
She's like, I'm
Right.
good.
She is great.
She's dropped her daughters off at college.
Got a
Yeah.
$11 million house
That's
in
what
the
I'm
big
saying.
in Martha's Vineyard or somewhere.
She's
I'm
good.
like, live your
Yeah.
life, sis.
Yeah.
Because you already been through it for 8 years.
Yeah,
I wouldn't do it
she's
again.
good.
Yeah,
She's good.
I get it. But nonetheless.
Nonetheless, all right. Well, that's all we got for topics, but we have another great topic.
And now we got a float in the
DET's
building.
the
honey.
Oval. Speaking of Michelle Obama,
Speaking
this
of
is the Michelle
Float
Obama
Eye.
of the Oval. Right?
Yes and no.
She's a little more scandalous.
A little bit more
Yeah.
scandalous, but we like a little scandal. The show is doing great. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
And I know this is your first big leading role.
It is.
And so how is it working with Tyler Perry? Because I hear so many different things about his regimen on how he hires his actors, and like you only get a very short period of rehearsals, and you just gotta
shoot that
come in
one
there
time and come
prepared.
ready.
Yeah.
Yeah, that portion of it is true. We do not get rehearsals.
Oh,
so
wow.
you get your script, and you need to be. It's like theater. It's like performing theater every day. And I liken it to this. We had 25 episodes, so you have 25 scripts. I say it's 25 plays. And we block shoot. So if there's a scene in one location, we shoot all of those scenes. We shoot out at that location for the entire series. So, so imagine memorizing 25 plays and then performing the scenes out of sequence.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's so tough. It's so tough, but it's a great training ground. We get one take usually.
Wow.
So you have to be on.
Yeah.
You have to be on it all the time.
You gotta
have
be
to
ready.
be focused. Yeah. Yeah. And so it's challenging, but now I feel like I can do anything. You know. So he has high expectations of us, but it's good training.
Wow.
So those actors who criticize, the actors on the show, try it.
I hear that. I hear
Okay.
I mean, they say he took the training ground to the next level, because a lot of actors would say that about working in soap opera, because they shot so much so
Right.
fast. But
Right.
that's another
That's a whole other thing.
level.
Right,
Like
yeah.
how? I mean, okay, so you don't get rehearsal, but How? Because you're shooting, it's an episode a week, but you guys shoot all at once.
Yeah, so it's not, we don't break
So
it
it's
down
not even
per
broken down
episode.
into-
No, it's just, yeah.
It's just the whole season.
We might get
all the way
80
through.
pages of dialogue.
How
in a
much in
day.
advance do you actually get it, though?
Well, okay, so here's the thing. Some of us got all 25 scripts well in advance. So we had a couple months to live in it, to work with it, to flesh the characters out and so forth, and just to interact with each other and to rehearse with each other before we got to set. So,
Much like a play you would.
Exactly.
Yeah, right.
It was
Sure.
just like that, but it was up to us to do it.
Okay.
You
It
know,
was on your own time.
Exactly. So, I mean, that's just what
It's
it
part of
was.
the thing.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
And do you still work with your coach like during this process, or are you doing most of this stuff individually? Because that seems just like a lot of.
Sorry, y'all.
That's the president calling in right now. So do you still work with your coach, or do you do a lot of this stuff with the cast members, or just the preparation for that? Because that's a lot.
It is a lot. Initially, I thought I would work with a coach because I thought I would have time to.
Yeah. No.
No. So, we really had to bond together. Our cast is so tight. We love each other like family.
Yeah. That's
because
great.
we have to. We have to trust. We have to
That's
trust
right.
each
Yeah.
other. And so, we spent a lot of time together. When I first got my script, and Ed, who plays Hunter Franklin, my husband on the show, he's based in LA. I'm in Atlanta, and we were Skyping. We were FaceTiming like every chance we got, just to run the lines and
Yeah.
get familiar with each other and get familiar with the characters to flesh them out.
love that.
Yeah.
And then now working with Tyler as well, I know that he likes to bring in and use a lot of different actors for a lot of his different sets. Have you worked with him before, prior to this particular episode, this particular show?
I have. I was an extra once on one of his sets about 7 years ago.
Wow.
And I did 2 day player roles on 2 of his popular shows. So, yeah.
He loves you. He remembers you.
He kept bringing you back. That's always a good sign.
Yeah, it is a good sign. Yeah.
What is the atmosphere like shooting in Atlanta now, especially with the huge studio that he has built and all of that, versus the atmosphere as an actor in LA and coming into the studios here?
It's, you know what, it's just a different culture altogether.
Yeah.
Atlanta actors have, I think, a different mindset. It's we have a strong work ethic, but it's a little bit more laid back. I don't know if that makes any sense
Sure.
to you. It's
Yeah.
just not like we're just like hungry.
Yeah.
It's just like, okay, let's get this done.
Yeah.
We're here. What's up? Kind of thing.
It's a good
Yeah, and working with Tyler has been, further to answer your question, has been amazing. He's an amazing mentor.
Yeah.
He is an amazing coach. He's a fun guy to work with. He's a lot of fun. He likes to have fun, but when it's time to get down and be serious, and he's expectant
He's
of.
like, you be ready.
Yeah.
And is he directing every episode?
He writes, directs, and
All of it.
produced.
When is he sleeping? I'm like, how do you do all that? Yeah.
You know what? I think he's a savant, but I know he takes time. He takes quiet time away, and he just focuses and he writes. And once he gets in his zone, he
knocks
goes.
it out.
Look out.
Yeah.
For someone new to the show, how would you describe your character, and also how would you describe the show in general?
I would say that Victoria Franklin, in one word, is volatile. She's volatile. So you never, and I liken her to a snake. So she's quiet and stealthy, and then she'll snap. So it's that type of thing.
I like the way you said that. I felt it too. I was like, all right, I need some water on
I
that.
know, right? That makes 2 of us. Wow.
And then the show as a whole, I mean, it's like you said, it's just drama.
Yeah.
There's a whole lot of drama, and it's fun. I mean, reading the script, I didn't find a whole lot of humor in it, but now that I'm watching the show, it's kind of funny.
Yeah.
I mean, some of it, it's so insanely intense that it's hilarious. Because really, you run into a wall, like, really? Is that what we, that type of thing, so.
Well, we had Anne-Marie Johnson and Reagan Gomez on the show last week, and it was interesting because Anne-Marie was talking in reference to black women working in Hollywood now, and just actors in general, because what appears to me is a lot more opportunities because we have the streaming services, we have cable, we have the networks, and I'm seeing a lot more people of color on these shows. But she said that's actually sort of not a representation, because she said, in all reality, when she kind of came into acting, you could make a full middle class living and more now, and now it's changed a little bit because there are just you don't get the residuals of, or your show is lasting for this amount of time. So she said a lot of the younger actors are coming in, and they're not able to do the same things that her generation were able to do.
Right.
But it seems like more opportunities, though.
Yeah, it's how can I say it? You're not able to build a career as easily as perhaps in the past, or not as easily, but once you're on a show in the past, you like you said, you have the residuals and you have some longevity there. But in today's market, I think you have more exposure.
Yeah.
So it's not, a longevity type thing, but you do get exposed to more, and hopefully, the more eyeballs on you, the more jobs you'll get.
Yeah.
All right. Well, what do you want to do next? As you continue the Oval, obviously we want like 18 more seasons.
Right. I'd like to do an action film.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd like to do something that is more dramatic and profound and heartfelt. And I'd like to do comedy. I mean, people don't know I've got a little comedy.
You got a little comedy. She got
comedy time.
Comedy chops.
Yeah. So I kind of want to do it all. And while the show is popular, I want to strike while the iron's hot.
Strike while it's hot.
Gotta do it.
And then, do you have any special holiday plans coming up? Vacations? Anything fun?
I am from Detroit.
D-Town.
What up, Detroit?
Wow.
And so I plan on spending the holiday with my family in Detroit, and hopefully it'll snow. And then go away.
And then go away.
Right, the 26th. It'll be out.
That's it. No shoveling for you.
No. We're not going to do that.
What would you tell a young actress or actor in general entering the business now? Maybe it's something that you learned about yourself later on in your career that you wish you knew when you first started your career.
Don't let anyone dictate what you do and how you function. Don't let anyone write your narrative. It's so easy to be discouraged and distracted in this industry. There's so much rejection, and you really do have to love it. You have to believe in yourself. You have to tune out the noise and just focus and hunker down. And the opportunities will come, but you really do have to believe in yourself. You cannot take anyone else's path as your own. I mean, you have to blaze your own trail and just stay with it.
Yeah.
Stick with it.
Stick with it. And what can we expect for the rest of the episodes?
Ooh,
I have to say fire right now because her reaction right there is fire.
Tyler's our new soap operas. All the soap operas are getting canceled.
Literally.
So he is doing all of that for
all
us
of it.
now.
Yes, it's insane, and it grows with intensity, if you can believe it, week over week. As if you've been watching it, it has, and it grows with intensity all the way up to episode 25. So if you tune in, I mean, by episode 25, your eyes will be as wide as saucers, and you'll probably be pulling your hair out.
I was binge watching it one day, and I forgot the name of the character, but it's she's the pharmacist, and her husband came in when she was allegedly kind of having a little fling with the other pharmacist, and it was the brawl was going on in the pharmacy, and woman wanted her cell phone. I was like, wow, this is some drama right here. I was glued. I was just like, I'm not going nowhere for a couple hours. I'm just watching.
Me too, because it's the first time I'm seeing all of the episodes.
Oh, really? So you don't?
I'm watching it with the audience.
That's dope.
That's fun. That's fun.
It's so much fun because tweeting. I was not a Twitter fan until the show. But then on Wednesday nights, hashtag the Oval on BET, hilarious. Some of those people on Twitter need to be writers. They really do. They're so funny.
For sure.
Are you binge watching anything else?
I don't really have time.
You don't have time. You don't have time with that. Not with that script. Not 25 episodes. You're right.
Come on, what are you watching on the plane?
On the plane? You know what? I try to catch up on movies that I haven't seen.
Okay. Like what?
Yeah. The most recent one, and don't judge me, I saw The Lion King for the first
time.
The reboot.
The reboot.
Yeah, I saw that. And
you love it? You like it?
It was kind of.
There's a lot of mixed opinions on that one, too.
It was kind of weird watching what appeared to be real animals speaking.
That was kind of.
Yeah, I prefer the cartoon. Yeah, that made more sense to me. It was kind of a brain thing. I'm like, I don't know how I feel.
I understand that.
I understand.
I understand that sentiment for sure.
Yeah.
Well, I know you said you tweet a lot. Where can fans find you? And if they want to ask you any questions about the Oval or just your next projects, where do they find you on social media?
It's at Kron Moore, KronMoore, for Instagram and Twitter.
Courtney?
All right, I'm all over the social media universe at Stewart Starlet.
Sean?
At SeanStar75 on Instagram.
And hashtag Captain Good Hair right there.
Right? Got that swoop.
Get that swoop, swoop.
Got that swoop, swoop.
You can find me at Derrial Christon on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and also on This Is LA on CBS, Weekend Lifestyle Show. Thank you guys for tuning in. Be sure to check in on The Oval. Y'all, I'm telling y'all start watching it, you're not going to stop.
You not. Oval on BET.
And she's killing it, so watch it, and we'll see y'all next week.
Bye-bye.
On behalf of our BHL staff, we would like to thank you for tuning in to Black Hollywood Live, the world's first digital broadcast network devoted entirely to urban entertainment and pop culture. Check out our Black Hollywood Live YouTube page for even more great programming and amazing content, and be sure to subscribe and like our channel when you do. I'm your BHL host, Nakia Monet, and you can find me on all social media at Kiki Boom Boom or at Black Hollywood Live. Black Hollywood Live, Hollywood redefined.